it was transmitted in radio and television. And of course, if you use it, her as a mother of oligarchy capitalist, it was something you want to hide something or make equation, compare something.
No, I just used her because I thought it will have a comical effect if she will be telling that she didn't expect communist Poland to happen. And for this line I wanted her. It is a problem. Is it ethically okay to use people whose moral record is dubious if they are acting accordingly to their biography? And in my previous film I remember very often actors who were respectable actors, respectable in terms of, in civic terms, in terms of as human beings, they were refusing to play with actors who were collaborating with the system in an indecent way. And I said, but what can I do when I have to play somebody to play a spy? And they were saying, no, we want an honest man to play the spy, because only honest man will have courage to expose a spy without any inhibitions, because he won't be afraid that he will be identified. You know, some closet homosexual actors must not ever play homosexuals, because they will always try to show that I'm acting but it's not me. While straight actors sometimes play marvelous homosexuals because they have no inhibition. They say, all right, I will imitate somebody's behavior, it's not my behavior, and there is no suspicion, I have no complex about it. So, the same sometimes with evil people. Sometimes somebody who is innocent like a lamb will play very in a convincing way terrible scoundrel, which shows what is potential but not actual in him or in her. We're all potentially murderers. Fortunately, most of us don't follow some of our instincts, but they are somehow sleeping. And actor is the happy one who may express what is in his mind, but it's not necessarily in life. And that's why in casting, don't imitate actor, don't write him a part which is like his life. For an actor, the biggest challenge is to act not following what he's actually doing, but following what he potentially could have been, and he's not. Yes, please.
Is there anything you could share with us about your screenwriting process?
Well, I teach often screenwriting classes in various countries. And it's a great experience to me, but I wonder if it's a good experience to my students. We have to ask them. Some of them were quite happy and some of them were not. It is, basic in writing is to find clear view of life which applies to this particular story. I don't insist that you must have this out of a life all your life through. But what is a problem, especially in Europe nowadays, is the shifting point of view. That in one scene you have one view of life, but in another scene you have different view of life. And then they collide. We must have a consistent view. What is good, what is evil, what we like, what we dislike, and why. And of course we sometimes like and dislike the same thing, but you have to play consciously about it. Otherwise you confuse people. And this is the problem. Sometimes this problem is very painful. Some scripts are born in an unhappy way because the story is not coinciding with your intentions. It carries you somewhere else. And very often, in the middle of writing, I feel that the story brings me somewhere. And sometimes I'm angry, I wanted to have a different ending. But this ending becomes natural, and there is no way. I often disagree with my characters. They say something which I believe is true to their character. That's exactly what I didn't want them to say so, but my hand writes it. I write by hand. And, this is a natural and this is a fantastic experience. And I think these are the brightest moments of my life when sometimes I overcome some difficulty, and the script starts to run. It's not when the script is ended. When it is ended, there's always some depression. But that's irrelevant. But the moment when you start to feel that these characters have their life, and that you are only instrumental, but as you don't own them anymore, they have their sovereignty, that's fantastic. And it doesn't come very easy. There are days and days when you look on a sheet of paper and nothing, no feeling, and nothing crosses your mind. But then sometimes this moment, the spring comes, and there's a fantastic moment. Yes, please.
Building on what you just said about actors, conversely, do you think directors should work in films that they're personally invested in, or should they try to present visions of what they don't understand and sort of challenge themselves? For example, would someone who has lived through a war, would that person be better equipped to present the vision of that situation than, for example, a director who was younger and didn't experience that?
No, I wouldn't say that you have to experience everything. You have to have fantasy that makes you understand what you are playing. And I will be far more concerned about fantasy if your imagination is strong enough that you can face this reality, and not necessarily that you have experience of this reality. Because some people are blind of their reality. And let me bring you an example which may sound controversial. However, I hope some of you have seen a film of my great connational and my good colleague, Roman Polanski, The Pianist. I knew the character. Many of us did, because he was a very well-known musician. And the secret of his survival was that he was absolutely fixated man. He did not perceive what was happening around, and that's why he survived. It is not very present in the film. It's more present in his writing. Because in the film, you see what is surrounding him. But has he been more open to the world, he would have died. He would have committed suicide, seeing what happened to his family, to other Jews, to other people in the city. Fortunately, he had this very narrow vision that some musicians, some mathematicians sometimes have. So his own perception of his own life was very inadequate, and that's why he survived. And of course, the actor who is acting had the same challenge. He had to react in a very limited way, and not in a way that probably most of you would have reacted, because these reactions would bring you to the catastrophe. So it is not really necessary to have this experience, but to have imagination, to have fantasy. And if your fantasy is strong and it leads you, you may be an inspired actor and play even extraterrestrials convincing way. None of us has an experience of being extraterrestrial unless I don't recognize you.